I'm Sejal Dattani and I work as a product marketer for Zoho Creator. Let's start with this session, the next one, that is laying the foundation with forms. So, as we know, form is the most important or the core element of any Zoho Creator application. So here I'll also take you through some of the best practices, or I'll tell you some tips and tricks which you could use when you create forms so that your forms can give you the best results. We are very familiar with forms, like we fill them almost every day. When we go to restaurants, we fill feedback forms in order to give them feedback about the food or their services. Sometimes we have to fill forms when we visit the doctor. We have the personal information form there. But what happens is, most of these online forms are very unclear, or sometimes they are too lengthy that we are lazy to fill them up. The goal of this session is to make the process of filling up forms as easy as possible. Let's get into the session. As Taylor explained earlier in his session, before we actually start creating the application or the forms, it's important that we outline the application. That is, we draw the entity relationship diagram. And we all know what is an entity. We all know what are attributes. So here I would give you a small example of what an entity is, what an attribute is. Here we have a Ford Mustang, which is the entity here, right? And we have another form which has one field, that is the description field, which is the attribute. So what will happen when I ask an owner, or maybe say a manufacturer, to fill this field? What they'll do is, all they know about this car, they'll fill up in this particular field. They'll fill maybe the car number, the model number, the color. So all that they know, they'll fill up in this particular field. But that's not a good practice. Instead, we could have a form like this, which has different field types which represent the different attributes of this particular car. That is the brand, model, color, etc. So this is how you organize entities, the attributes of the entities that you have. That is a quick recap of our previous session. Before you actually start creating forms, you need to know what field types you require so that your forms are clear and logical, and the users who are filling up the forms will not have any trouble. Let me quickly go into these field types. In Creator, the field types are broken down into 4. And the first one is basic fields, second is selection fields, and then we have numeric fields, and last one, advanced fields. First, we have the basic fields. Here we know the single line field, which is now going to be for name collection, it's going to be first name and last name in C5. Usually, we use single line field when we want short answers. That's when we use single line fields. Multi-line fields are usually used when you want a long description. For example, you can use it when you want to ask somebody, tell me about yourself, or when you have descriptions to be entered. Then we have rich text field, which is very similar to multi-line, but it helps you to format your text. That is, you can make your font bold, italic, and so on. Then you have the email field, which, as the name suggests, lets you collect the email address of the person filling up the form. Then we have date, time, and date field. These fields are very useful because it avoids the errors which usually a person makes while filling up the form. They might enter the date in different formats, like somebody might use dash, somebody might use a slash. Here you see that a calendar gets displayed which has the date as well as the time. Next we have selection fields. So selection fields are basically broken down into 2. That is, we have the drop-down field and the radio field, which is usually used when you want the user only to select one option from a list of options. So that is drop-down and radio button. So you'll have multiple options, but you get to choose only one option. And then multi-select and checkbox. it lets you choose multiple options from a list of options. For example, many of you sitting here are using multiple Zoho products, and I would like to know which are they. So I could use multi-select or checkbox field. Then we have the numeric fields, which are very simple. We have decimal, number, percentage, and currency. And finally, we have the advanced fields here. Advanced fields, first one is URL. So for example, I want somebody to enter their home address, and I want them to give me the Google Map link for it. And that's when I could use the URL field where they can enter in the link of their home address. Image field, very simple. If you're filling up a job application form and you want to upload your personal image, you could use an image field. The decision box field, you would have seen at the end of the forms, you usually see something like, I agree to terms and conditions. Have you all noticed that? So that is the decision box field. So once you check that, then only the user will be able to submit the form. And file upload field. So again, I would take the example of a job application form. You are asked to upload your resume. You could use the file upload field to upload your resume in the job application form. So next you have a lookup field. So lookup field basically allows you to fetch information from another form. There were two forms in Karen's application, that is the registration form and the lessons form. So in the registration form, which the student submits, you had a lesson field, which was actually a lookup from the lessons form. So it lets you fetch information from another form. That is a lookup field. Then you have add notes here. So add notes is useful when you want to display some information. For example, if you see, I have this advanced fields heading here. This is being displayed using the notes field. So that is why you use notes field. Then we have subform field. Basically, subform is used when you want to display a form within a form. So it's like a parent form, and then you have a child form. Signature field is a field which lets anybody add their signatures into the form. I'm sure many of you all, while receiving your online orders, the delivery guy asks you to sign the form on his mobile. And so that is signature field. Last, we have Zoho CRM here. So this field, if you have any lead information or customer information in Zoho CRM, this field allows you to fetch information from Zoho CRM. So these are the different field types. You should be sure that you choose the right fields so that you collect the right information. Now that we have looked at all the field types, let's move to the next section of this session where we'll actually create the forms that Karen needs. Now, these are the different entities that Taylor just explained to you. We have the lessons entity, instructions, feedback, and registration. In this session, we'll start creating these forms, and these will be the exercises that you will be doing along with me. The first exercise that we'll do is to create a form from the scratch. That is, we need to drag and drop all the fields and create the first form. Then next is importing a spreadsheet file. We all know we have an option to import spreadsheet files or CSV file and build the form up. So let's get started. So first, lessons form. It's pretty simple. This is the form that Karen needs to keep track of her lessons. With this form, she'll be able to track what are the lessons that are coming up, how many students are there in each of these lessons, what is the duration of this lesson, and other important information related to lessons. So let's all go to Creator now. If you all have signed into Creator, I'm sure this is the first screen that you see on your screen. Let's start by creating the application and giving it a name. Let's all click on New Application, Create from Scratch, and name the applications as Karen's cooking class. And let's click on create. This is the next screen that you all have on your screens. Let's start by first naming the form. We have to create the lessons form first, which Karen needs to keep track of her lessons. The first thing that we do here is name the form. As we know, so we can name it as lessons. But what you see here is every form has two names, right? That is the form title and the form link name. The form link name is unique to every form that is created in this application. It needs to be short and concise because you will be using this particular form link name while you are scripting. We'll be creating instructor second, which we'll be creating using a spreadsheet file. Here, it's always advisable to have your form link name short. Let's have both as lessons. And this form title will be displayed when somebody uses the form. It needs to be named in a way that the user can easily understand the purpose of that form. That is about form name. Next, Creator also allows you to change the appearance, that is where you want the form title to be, whether you want it on the left, top, right, etc. So it lets you customize certain things here. Then you have the success section. So success section basically lets you configure certain things that will happen once somebody fills up the form. So you first have the success message here. That is, once somebody fills up the form, you need to acknowledge them. So that is the message that is here, that is data added successfully. Or you can say something like, thank you for filling up the form. Then you have an option to send confirmation emails, automatically send confirmation emails. That is, once somebody fills up the form, automatically an email will be there in his inbox saying thank you for filling up the form, and you can also give them other information. That is send confirmation email. Next we have go to next URL. That particular option lets you redirect a user to another part of your application or to another form. When you check on this particular checkbox, it lets you fill in a URL which you want your user to go next. And then we have validation. Validation lets you limit certain entries into your form or control the entries that are made into your form. First we have CAPTCHA. I'm sure all of us here are very familiar with CAPTCHA. Then we have IP address and per user. So that is, you can control the number of entries made by a user or per IP address. That is, for example, if you have a form which collects votes, you don't want somebody to vote twice. That's when you select one entry per user so that everyone can make only a single vote or everyone can vote only once. And that is validation here. And then we have form access. Using form access, you can restrict the period in which somebody can fill entries or submit the form. If you select periodic, you can specify the start time and the end time in which entries can be made. For example, if you have a form and it's public and you want only it to be on the web for 48 hours, you can do that. You can specify the date and time here. This is about form entries. Pretty much simple. You can basically change all the settings related to your form. Now, let's get started by creating this form. I'll give you a few minutes here and you need to pull all the field types which is required for building this form. So these are the fields that Karen requires to build her form. We'll build this form, we'll come back and we'll check whether we have chosen the right field. Let's see if what are the right field types to choose. The title, that is the lesson name, needs to be a single line field because it's just a short name. It's just a one-word answer. Then we have description, needs to be a multi-line field because Karen would like to describe what the class is about. Then we have start time and end time. That is when the lesson starts, when the lesson ends. Those need to be date and time fields. Durations field, which is the minutes, that is the difference between start time and end time, needs to be a number field. And then we have instructor field. As I just mentioned, instructor field can be a drop-down field because we have multiple instructors teaching at Karen's. The last three fields, that is capacity, is number of students who can attend the class. So it needs to be a number field. Last one, price field, that is the amount that the student needs to pay for Karen's classes. So Karen needs to assign price or fees for each lesson that she is offering. It can be a currency field. That is the lessons form. I hope everybody here has completed the first form. Let's quickly go to our next form, which is the registration form. So this form is a little different from the other form because we need Karen to publish this form so students can actually register for her classes and come attend her classes. This is the registration form which will be published on websites, or maybe Karen could publish it in her blogs or social media campaigns so that more people know about her classes. So we'll create this form a little differently from the previous form. This is the information, about the students who have already registered. We have first name, we have their names, we have their phone numbers, where they are from, and also last we have the lessons for which they have registered, right? So now what we quickly do is we need to download this file. So what we do is we select export as MS Excel workbook. So this file gets downloaded into your system. You see that the file has been downloaded now. Okay, let's quickly import this spreadsheet file and create our next form. Let's click on create new form. We see we have three options. Let's select the second option, import a file. Click on from computer and choose the file that we just downloaded. You can see it is the registrations.xlsx. Right? Done? Is everybody with me? Yes. Awesome. Let's quickly click on create. So what do you guys see here now? This screen that is displayed here, what is the information displayed here? So it has all those columns that we just saw in the spreadsheet being displayed here. We have first name, last name, phone number, city, state, and finally the lessons. Before we click or before we convert the spreadsheet file to a form, to the registration form, what we need to be careful, or what we usually forget as users, is to check the field types. Let me go through it one by one. The first name field needs to be a single line field. Last name, again, single line. Email, of course, an email field type. Phone number here, we often choose a number field for phone number, but I would advise you to choose a single line field because phone number here has brackets, it has dash, so it's better to choose a single line field which will accept all of these. Then we have the address, which needs to be a multi-line field. City again can be single line. Zip code, number. State here needs to be a drop-down field because we'll have multiple states. What about price? Currency field, yes. And last, we have lessons here, Karen has multiple lessons. Let's choose drop down. Promo code will be later explained to you in a later session, but let's have it as a number field. So we have chosen all the field types. Let's quickly click on finish. So next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rearrange these fields a bit. Let's have the lessons field up, state field next to the city field, and the price at the end. That's the first thing. Email field, I'm going to make it mandatory so that Karen could use it to communicate with her students. She could remind them of when the classes are. Next, the state field here, we had selected the state field to be drop down. But we have only California listed here. We need the other states. And how do we do that? Pretty simple. We have a import predefined choice here. So basically it has all the common options which are usually a list. We have education, days of week, etc. Let's choose US states here, correct? And let's click on done. We see all the states are being listed here. So that is what import predefined choices does. Let's make California the default field type because Karen is conducting her classes in California. So most of the people will be from here. And that's it. That are the few things that we had to do here in the registration form. Now what I will teach you to do is, let's make this form, or let's all make this form public so that all the students who want to sign up for this form can access it on the web. We see a settings option here on the top, right? Let's click on publish. We see the form is not published yet. Let's click on publish now. So once you do that, you see the same form that we just created, the registration form, and you have the URL here. All you need to do here is you can customize the appearance of the form, color, etc. You can do success message, you can do go to next URL, and so on. And finally, let's click on publish. So once we do this particular URL could be embedded in any of your websites. That's how you make a form public.